The NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Charlotte Roval for the elimination race, and we see some pretty clutch moments happen and some shocking eliminations. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Cup Series race from the Charlotte Roval, the Bank of America Roval 400. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We've got some things to talk about. So, before the green flag drop in today's race, a bunch of drivers have to start at the rear of the field, including Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Larice Hazen, Connor Daly, Eric Almirola, and Josh Williams would all have to start at the rear of the field. So at the start of the race, you had Joey Logano lead the field from the inside and William Byron on the outside, and Joey Logano was able to clear for the race lead. There would be a couple early instances in this race. Austin Dillon would end up missing the front chicane and would have to do a pass-through. A lap later, Bubba Wallace, he would block up the tires, and he would also end up missing the chicane and would come to pit road for flat-spotted tires. Kyle Busch, about 10 laps later, he would miss the chicane and came to a stop, and then we saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he would end up missing the chicane early. Joey Logano would dominate the early portion, and we started seeing some green flag pit stops. First, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, and Mike Rockefeller would come down pit road. Then a ton of drivers would come down pit road, including Cole Custer, Eric Jones, Mark Truex Jr., Noah Gragson, Brad Keselowski, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, Justin Haley, among those that would come down pit road. But at this point, with all of them staying out, Joey Logano would come off the corner and win stage number 1. All the cars who did not come down pit road, basically all the playoff drivers, they would basically come down pit road, while the rest leaders decided to stay out. And then also there was issues for Daniel Suarez on pit road, where Bubba Wallace basically started to try to come down pit road, and there was contact from that. So on the restart, you had Tyler Reddick leading the field from the inside and Allmendinger on the outside, and we saw AJ Allmendinger get around Tyler Reddick to take the race lead. A little bit later into the race, we see Noah Gragson and Corey LaJoie have some contact down the backstretch where they basically were dooring each other, and basically the rig basically had to come to a stop and go. Then we see Ross Chastain, he ended up missing the backstretch chicane a few laps later, and then we started hearing AJ Allmendinger start having transmission issues, about potential issues getting into second gear. Near the end of stage number 2, we saw first Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, and Denny Hamlin come down pit road. Then the next lap, we saw Todd Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Brad Keselowski, and Eric Jones come down pit road. And then the rest of the cars really going for the overall victory, they would all come down pit road, leaving Ross Chastain out to come off the corner and win stage number 2 at the Charlotte Roval. Then we basically would go back racing here, I think, with some guys coming in, and we have a restart on lap 56 with Tyler Reddick leading the field from the inside and Allmendinger on the outside, and I believe that Allmendinger was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, a lap later, we see some contact between Chase Briscoe and Corey LaJoie, and basically Chase Briscoe thought the toe was messed up, but there weren't any major issues from that. Then Connor Daly came to pit road and basically had electrical fire from basically in the clash of issues, and he would get some damage and basically would have electrical fire and fall out of this race. Meanwhile, a few laps later, another playoff driver would run into problems. Daniel Suarez, who is really having a really terrible day, really not having the best day in the world, even though he got some stage points, his pair on steering basically started to fail and started falling back and lost a ton of ground and fell out. Then we saw potentially the final green flag pit stops in this race, where Chris Roval came in, then Kyle Larson came in, and then the rest of the guys came in off of pit road. And eventually, because Chase Elliott basically came in a little bit earlier, he would end up getting the race lead. Meanwhile, Daniel Suarez eventually came down pit road to try to get the power steering fluid inside his race car. He unfortunately was already a lap down. He was really in a lot of pain out there. They finally got him to pit road with around 30 laps to go. Meanwhile, Ross Chastain actually got into the outside wall. He would come down pit road a little bit later. Austin Hinder got in the back of Joey Hand, and Joey Hand basically went to the garage because of it. And then Ross Chastain, a few laps later, he would basically come to pit road and go to the garage. Meanwhile, we would basically see Tyler Reddick. He would end up having problems, and he would end up missing the backstretch chicane where he just overshot the corner and really did not lose a ton of positions, but he did lose about a few seconds to the race leader. Then meanwhile, Daniel Suarez, who was already having power steering problems, he basically got into the back of Corey LaJoie and spun him. Daniel Suarez really couldn't do nothing about it, and he unfortunately ended up missing the front chicane because of it for Corey LaJoie. And then basically there was retaliation where basically Corey LaJoie was angry, and LaJoie basically got into Suarez, and Suarez got into the outside wall. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson, who's really having a decent run, was in 13th and basically had repairs on the right rear suspension of the race car. Eventually got back out on track, but now I was concerned about Kyle Larson because Larson had some issues on his race car. And then the big bombshell moment of the race happened where a piece of the wall signage came off the wall and went on the racetrack, bringing out the caution. Yep, a piece of wall that was already out of the racing line brings out the yellow and causes a lot of issues where a lot of leaders stay out, and then Chris Roval basically pulls a strategy call where he decides to come down pit road. Then with 4 laps to go on the restart, chaos ensues. Chase Elliott restarts on the inside with Allmendinger on the outside. This lap is absolutely insane, by the way. First, Michael McDowell and Noah Gragson basically have contact where Harrison Burton also gets involved. Then, in turn number 6, we saw contact between Allmendinger and Elliott, and then Tyler Reddick spun Chase Elliott out. Then, we basically would see more issues where we have some stuff happen in the backstretch. Chris Roval actually got at the 3rd position after coming onto pit road. Then the next lap, more chaos happened. Joe Logano and Eric Jones, they spun on the backstretch chicane. Then Chase Briscoe got spun by Austin Dillon, and a bunch of other cars ended up getting involved. And then with 2 laps to go, the caution would come out for basically stuff coming off of the curb, and it would become loose on the backstretch chicane, and they would end up red flagging the race. Some drivers end up coming down pit road. This included William Byron, Noah Gragson. They would all basically come down pit road, among others. So on the first overtime and the only attempt, you had Kevin Harvick lead the field from the inside and Chase Briscoe on the outside, and Kevin Harvick got a really good restart. Meanwhile, going into turn number 1, chaos ensued. Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, and Mike Rockefeller were all involved in the wreck, and also Noah Gragson also was involved. Then there was contact for Austin Cindric where he would end up spinning out, entered basically the track backstretch chicane, got really loose, and ended up spinning out as Chris Roval had taken the lead. As we were coming to the white flag, there was issues for Ty Dillon. He spun out, and then basically Cole Custer decided to brake check a bunch of drivers and basically give Chase Briscoe basically the spot to get a bunch of points. But Chris Roval, after pulling a really good strategy move near the end of the race, he would come off the final corner and pull off a very clutch victory, and he would come off the corner to win the race and advance to the round of 8. Honestly, congratulations to Chris Roval on winning this race. Bell did not have the best car by any stretch of the imagination. I'll be honest with you guys. Chris Roval got lucky because of a yellow for basically, leaderboard, basically because of the fact that there was some stuff on the racetrack that caused a yellow to cause this race to really go into shambolic mode. But they made a good strategy call, in my opinion, for Chris Roval to win. So congratulations to Chris Roval on pulling a clutch. Also, Toyota's first road course victory of the year. It's been really dominated by the Chevys and somewhat maybe the Fords this year. But congratulations to Chris Roval on picking up a victory. It's questionable if he deserves it or not, but he did play a great strategy call near the end of the race. And it's unfortunate for other drivers that we'll talk about here in just a second and then talk about the points situation. So, Chris Roval, congratulations to him. He picks up the victory. So now we'll talk about the results, and then I'll give you my score on today's race. So Chris Roval picks up the victory. Kevin Harvick gets a really strong second-place finish. Kevin Harvick's had a hit-or-miss playoffs this year. Good to see Kevin Harvick ending off the year, and he's, of course, got that appeal coming up really, really soon where they're going to appeal the penalty. He gets a very strong second-place finish. Good run from Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch finishes 3rd. How about that for Kyle Busch? He also came down pit road to basically top off late in the race and comes back to finish in the top 5. Good run from Kyle Busch. Really needs a good run. He's had a struggling playoffs as he tried his transition over to Richard Childress Racing. He finishes in 3rd. AJ Allmendinger finishes 4th. I think AJ had one of the 2 or 3 fastest cars in this race, but unfortunately Allmendinger, the late caution, going to cost him an opportunity. Got into Chase Elliott contact there. But it is what it is. He still gets a very solid top 5 finish. He's still really good at road courses regardless. He gets a 4th place finish. Justin Haley finishes 5th. How about that for Justin Haley? Justin Haley ran top 5 really majority of the second half of the race, so he deserves this top 5 in my opinion. Good run from Justin Haley. Chris Buescher finished 6th. Very solid run from Chris Buescher today. Buescher was kind of quiet most of the day, but gets a 6th place finish. Bubba Wallace finishes 7th. After all the chaos and controversy, he had issues early. He gets 7th place finish. Good run from Bubba Wallace in 7th. Really, he's not done good on road courses this year. So good to see Bubba Wallace have a good run on a road course. Tyler Reddick finishes 8th. Of course, controversial stuff near the end. Reddick had one of the best cars today, though. That 8 car has always been good on the road courses this year. Good to see Reddick really have a good run. I wish he would have won, but it is what it is. Chase Briscoe finishes 9th. With Briscoe finishing 9th today, he is advanced into the next round, which is going to be controversial. Briscoe has been hit or miss in the playoffs, but he did enough to get in there, played a good strategy call near the end of the race and finishes 9th. Good to see Briscoe have a good run. And Austin Dillon, who got into the back of Briscoe, he finishes in 10th. Eric Jones finishes 11th. Corey LaJoie finishes 12th. Denny Hamlin finishes in 13th. Brad Keselowski finishes in 14th. Eric Almirola finishes 15th. William Byron finishes 16th. Mark Truex Jr. finishes 17th. 18th for Joey Logano. 19th for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And Chase Elliott, after having a dominant car near the end of the race and making a good pit call near the end, he finishes 20th. Elliott probably had the best car at the end. Unfortunately, could not win because he got spun out, but it is what it is. Austin Cindric finishes 21st. Ty Gibbs finishes 22nd. Not a bad run for him. Noah Gragson finishes 23rd. Tough break for Noah Gragson, considering I think Noah Gragson's been super, super good. It was doing a really good job today. It's a shame that he didn't get to finish where he deserved. He finished 23rd. Cole Custer finished 24th. Ty Dillon finished 25th. Ryan Blaney finishes 26th. Michael McDowell finishes 27th. Harrison Burr finishes 28th. Mike Rockefeller finishes in 39th. Todd Gillen finishes in 30th. Josh Williams finished 31st. J.G. Ely gets 32nd. Larice Haseman's 33rd. Connor Daly finishes 34th. Kyle Larson finishes 35th. And unfortunately, Kyle Larson is eliminated from the playoffs. Not much to say other than that. He gets eliminated from the playoffs. Daniel Suarez also eliminated from the playoffs, finishing in 36th. 37th place finish, I believe, goes to Joey Hand. I think 38th, if I'm not mistaken, I think 38th in this race would have basically ended up, 38th place ended up being in this race. Ross Chastain got 37th after his issues, 38th for Joey Hand, and then Danny Kvyat finished last in today's race. So overall, let's talk about the 4 that are going home. Like I mentioned, the 4 that are eliminated from the playoffs. Kyle Larson, the defending Cup Series champion, he unfortunately is eliminated from the playoffs. Just a bad situation for him. He should have been in, but, that caution coming out cost him an opportunity. Daniel Suarez, who really was going to probably be safe as well, had that power steering problem. He's unfortunately eliminated. Austin Cindric, he's also eliminated. And then finally, the last guy to be eliminated from the playoffs, unfortunately, is Alex Bowman. So the 8 going in, the 8 that I did not mention, they're going to be going for a championship. I got to say that the playoff cutoff line, it's ridiculous that Kyle Larson, who's been one of the 2 or 3 best drivers majority of the year. I know the round of playoffs, it did not go well for him. He didn't get enough points at Talladega. But man, oh man, oh man, the fact that the defending Cup Series champion cannot go for a championship is ridiculous. And a guy who's gotten 6 top 10s this year is in the flex round. Just frustrating and absolutely ridiculous. So now, let's overall talk about my thoughts on today's race and give you my score of today's race. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The next-gen car has been good on intermediate tracks. Road course and short tracks, on the other hand, this car has absolutely done a really bad job this year. And the ending of that race, just the chaos, just was really, really frustrating to watch. I don't think this was the worst race of the year. I still give that honor to Martinsville personally because nothing happened at Martinsville. But man, this race was not really good in my opinion. I'm giving today's race at the Roval overall a 6 out of 10. Personally, my least favorite Roval race we've had. It's a shame too because I don't think the track itself is the problem. I think the next-gen car has really been the problem for this. And it's a shame that this is how we're going to decide a championship too, how we crown a champion. I don't know, but this race just was really, really frustrating to watch. I'm giving today's race overall actually a 5 out of 10. That's my score for today's race at the Charlotte Roval. So, that's here today's NASCAR Cup Series race review from the Charlotte Roval. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below for that. And comment your thoughts on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below. And congratulate Cristobal on pulling off a clutch victory and getting the win. Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video discussing all the news in all the motorsports that have been going on over the last couple of days. That includes Formula 1 and NASCAR. Tuesday will be race picks for Las Vegas, and they've got other stuff on the way as well to talk about. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.